Hello, Group J. I am really looking forward to reading with you today. It's not quite the same as when we're all in a classroom together and you guys are eating and eating and eating while I'm reading. Eating and reading is how it goes usually, but I am at least glad that I can record this for you and send it along. As you know, we often don't finish our read-alouds in just one sitting or one day or one snack or one lunch or even a week. So I'm going to read the whole book to you, and you can listen all at once or you can break it up into a few days if you like. This is one of my very favorite books. You might not feel the same way, but it is written by Jane Thayer and the pictures are by Seymour Fleischman, which is like one of my favorite names of all time. And the book is The Blueberry Pie Elf. And some of you I feel like there may have been an occasion where you heard me read this before, but I don't think it's happened in our classroom. So if it has, you'll remember some of the parts and you can, there are parts that kind of repeat a little bit and you are welcome to say those with me. I'll remind you when they're coming up. So the Blueberry Pie Elf, look at these beautiful detailed end papers. I think the illustrator Seymour Fleischman probably like rushed through it and did that in like 5 minutes. What do you think? No? No, I don't think so either. I think Seymour Fleischman took a long time to add detail to these pies. Oh my goodness, I'm already hungry. The Blueberry Pie Elf. There once was an elf named Elmer who lived in a house with some people. No one knew that he lived in the house because no one can see an elf, no one can hear an elf, and no one can feel an elf. One day, when blueberries were ripe, the people picked a pailful. By the way, can you say that? The people picked a pailful. That's a lot to say. The little elf helped, perched on a blueberry bush. The people made a blueberry pie. Elmer helped roll out the crust. He watched as the berries, all covered with sugar, were tucked inside. When the delicious smell of the baking blueberry pie stole out from the oven, the little elf sniffed. He wanted that blueberry pie so much that he almost got his nose caught in the oven door. At last the pie was done. The people ate some for supper. Elmer watched every mouthful and his mouth watered. The people left the rest of the pie on the kitchen table. And as soon as they went to bed, the elf, who couldn't wait one more minute, jumped right into that rich, melting, juicy, delicious, fruity blueberry pie and ate till his elfin stomach bulged. So that part on that page where it says rich, melting, juicy, delicious, fruity, I think that is the part that that repeats a lot. So you guys can do that with me next time. And there he is, right in the pie plate. Then he climbed on the rim of the pie pan and carefully wiped his feet, all blue with blueberry juice, on his elfin handkerchief. He stole away to sleep off his feast in his favorite blue-flowered teacup. Next morning, when he awoke, the first thing he thought was, I'll have some blueberry pie. But the blueberry pie was gone. The little elf looked in the refrigerator. He looked in the oven. He looked in the cupboard. The people had eaten the blueberry pie for breakfast. It seemed to him that he could not stand it if he didn't have some blueberry pie. Ready, this part? Here it comes. Rich, melting, juicy, delicious, fruity blueberry pie. Oh, he said to himself, they have got to make another blueberry pie. I'll ask them to. So he danced up and down and waved his arms. He shouted in people's ears. He tapped them on the shoulder. But no one can, oops, what's happening here? No one can see an elf, and no one can hear an elf, and no one can feel an elf. So nobody knew that the little elf was trying to tell them something. Elmer was so hungry for blueberry pie that he would not give up. "I'll do some jobs around here," he said. "Then they'll notice me." When the people got up in the morning, he made the beds. It was such hard work to get the lumps smoothed out. And you'll notice here, like, look how small he is compared to the sheet on his bed, on their beds. Sorry, not his bed. Just a little guy. "Who in the world made this bed?" cried the people. They never dreamed a little elf had made the bed. When the people finished eating, the little elf washed the dishes. It was such hard work to get the forks clean. "Who in the world washed these dishes?" cried the people. They never dreamed a little elf had washed the dishes. And I love how washing that little part of the fork is really hard work. You and I would wash that fork in a snap, right? Snip, snap, as Miss Jaffe would say. But it's hard work for him. When the people went out, the little elf swept the floor. It was such hard work to get the dust out of the corners. Can you see what he's using as his broom? A little paintbrush. "Who in the world swept this floor?" cried the people. If only we knew so we could thank him. But they never dreamed a little elf had swept the floor for them. Elmer thought, how can I tell them a little elf is making the beds and all, and that he wants some blueberry pie so much? He paced up and down, trying to forget the taste of blueberry pie. He closed his eyes tight to shut out the picture of blueberry pie. He hid his head in a pillow so he would not smell blueberry pie. It was no use. He was still hungry for blueberry pie. Look at them all tucked in there. At last, one day, he saw the people get out the pie pan and the rolling pin. Elmer became very excited. Then he saw that they were making an apple pie. He didn't like apple pie. He crawled under the bed. He was so disappointed. One day, they made a pumpkin pie. The little elf turned up his nose. Then the people made a red cherry pie. It looked good. When they left it on the table, the little elf tiptoed up and tried a piece, but it tasted sour. It didn't taste like blueberry pie at all. He turned away. By the way, Group J, are you noticing that every page has the same kind of color scheme? This was happening in the 365 Penguins book we read too. It was just light blue and orange and black and white. See if you can pay attention to what the colors have been so far. He was so disappointed that he forgot to wipe his feet, all red with cherry juice, on his elfin handkerchief. He was just curling up in a little elfin ball to try to go to sleep and forget, oops, I made a mistake, to try and go to sleep instead of to go to sleep, and forget the blueberry pie when he heard someone call, "Oh, look!" "We've got a little elf in the house. He has been in the cherry pie and left little cherry footprints. So he's the one who's been making the beds and all. How can we thank him for doing all that work?" Elmer was wide awake in an instant. He went back and looked. Sure enough, there they were, bright red elfin footprints on the white table. He was admiring his elfin footprints when suddenly he had a great idea. He did not wait a moment. He gave a jump and landed with a splash in the middle of the cherry pie. No one saw him because no one can see an elf. The little elf waded around in the cherry juice until his feet were dripping. Any guesses about what he's going to do? You can pause for a minute and talk to your grown-ups if you want about what he might do. Then he climbed out on the white table with his slippery, sloppery feet, sorry, his slippery, sloppy feet, not slippery, sloppery, and very carefully began to slide about. As he slid about, his slippery, sloppy feet, all red with cherry juice, made some red words on the white table. The words said, and this is cursive writing, so it might be hard, "Blueberry pie, please." Is that showing up backwards to you guys? That's what it says. "Blueberry pie, please." When they saw that, the people said, "Oh, look, he wants a blueberry pie. Good, let's make him a pie." They made a blueberry pie and left it on the kitchen table. Then, while it was still warm, the little elf gave a jump and landed in that pie. He stuffed himself on the, here's the repeating part, the warm, rich, melting, juicy, delicious, fruity pie that he had been thinking about for days until he had had enough to last for a long time. His tummy was full and he felt fine. He stole away to sleep off his feast. But just before he fell asleep, he happened to remember his manners. He went back, climbed into the pie, and got his feet slippery and sloppy. Then, as he slid about, his slippery feet, all blue with blueberry juice, made some blue words on the white table. The words said, "Thank you." And that is the end of our story, The Blueberry Pie Elf by Jane Thayer and Seymour Fleischman. I will tell you that this was written a pretty long time ago. I'm going to remind myself what year. It was written in 1961. 61. So let's see. 61, 19. I'm going to count in sets of 10. 1971, 81, 91, 2001, 2011. It is almost 60 years old. Did I do that right? Parents, did I do that right? Is that true? 40 and yeah, almost 60 years old. So I really hope you liked it. By the way, Maisie was very sorry she couldn't be here for this read aloud today, but she's actually at the vet. And you will see her again very soon. Lots and lots of love. Please let me know what you think about this story. It's okay if you didn't like it, but tell me why you did or didn't like it. Maybe you could tell me your favorite parts. Maybe you're going to want to do some artwork about pies or your favorite kind of dessert. Maybe you'll write your own version of maybe a different kind of elf that sneaks around and does stuff. Let me know, and I will, I'll be in touch again soon. I'm going to go comment on some of your work on Seesaw right now. Mwah!